I want to welcome you to this week's episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. Every week, we try to put together a topic, a subject matter that will be of interest to you as a manager, as an owner of a home service company. And today, we're going to talk about something that may be going through your mind. Let's face it, 2024 has brought economic challenges. Many people's phones are not ringing like they were before. The economies is changing. We bet we're in an election year. We're in a period of high inflation. We're in a period of a lot of unrest. If we look at it, college, university, campuses, wars around the world, there are so many things going on that consumers often just aren't comfortable. So, what's a business to do in this point of view? What's a business to do? And sometimes we think that maybe the answer is to diversify with new products and services. But interestingly enough, my young colleague here, Noah, is involved in doing a case study in his university studies about a drink company that he's going to talk about that's facing this. So, Noah, let's give him a little background. Why is this drink company experiencing the product? Everywhere I go, people's drinking all kinds of stuff at every convenience store. They're sucking out the caffeine colas and everything else. So tell us why there's such a problem.
Yeah, for sure. So I did a case study at my school for a consulting job interview for a company that specializes in making fun drinks of all different flavors. Basically, a soda shop, right? We all love different types of sodas, drinks. Their problem that they're facing right now, though, is they are seeing a market shift in where the younger generation who is coming and buying these products, such as my generation, is wanting low calorie, low sugar, low everything drinks all of a sudden, right? We're looking for zeros across the back of the can, which is why you see a big shift as well in like the Coca-Cola industry, for example. You're seeing diet everything. So their problem that they're sorting through right now with the current assets they have, because it's going to take money, right? That's the biggest key in shifting your business for new offerings is it worth for them? You know, their core values have been making these fun, sugary drinks, and they have the properties to make that. Should they include those new tools to make that in their current business, or should they acquire a business who already has the idea of diet, low calorie, low sugar drinks down and be able to incorporate that into their own business as kind of a separate entity so that they can be able to keep their morals and their own company kind of the same at that base location? That makes sense.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, what you're talking about them doing is they're going to make an acquisition of a company. So, in your case study of this, how are they going to fund that acquisition?
Yeah, a lot of the funding that I mean that's kind of their main problem right now is right is first, do they have the funds? If they do have the funds, they're pulling that from the current money that they've put aside, they've saved from their business already, because they're seeing a downflow of customers right now, but they have put money aside to be able to pivot if necessary. But like I said, their biggest like sort to work through right now is, do we focus that money on putting it into our business we already have, or do we kind of say we're going to have to cut our losses here and move over to this new business and acquire it to move it into their current business?
Very interesting. So hey, there's a voice of the younger generation and what they're studying, and that's excellent that they're actually taking. What course is this that would go through this that you're taking, Noah?
For sure. Yeah. So these are my entrepreneurship classes. The case study specifically that I'm talking about was actually in a job interview for a group at my school called Wildcat Consulting. We take in clients from the KC and Missouri area, and they basically just let us deep dive their business, whether they want to know more about how to get stronger in their social media presence, just increase revenue, figure out where their target market should be, kind of all the above. So.
Got you covered. So that's really interesting. So Josh, I think, has an opinion of a different way of looking at this. So Josh, the topic today is diversification and how and why you did it. And Noah just presented a case of a soft drink company that's going to look at acquiring a company that makes a product. But again, just like I asked him, this takes funding to be able to do this, and so you got to be able to do it. He said they're bringing it out of reserves. So, what's your feeling, Josh, on diversification And what should people look at or do in this situation if they're business owners and managers today?
Well, so the first thing I would look at is if I was, do I own my market? And am I the very best at what I do? Now, that would be the very first thing I would look at before I brought new headaches onto my business. Because, as we were discussing before, it's like, all right, I'm a highly competent technician. And let's just say, okay, there's a lot of slowdown in the hearth and chimney industry right now. I'm going to just say I'm going to go service spas. Now, can I go out to someone that spa's not heating and needs a new heater? Yeah. Can I get that changed? Yeah, probably. Can I glue up pipes? Pretty sure I can glue up pipes. But there's going to be a huge amount of headaches involved in that, in sourcing parts, stocking a truck for plumbing, all the little things that you don't think about at first. The training that really needs to, when I first started this, the buttons were like full actuator buttons to turn on blowers. You didn't have control boards, 30, 40 years ago for a hot tub. And if it did, it was pretty basic. Can I work, how am I going to troubleshoot the Wi-Fi system on a new hot tub? Just things like that are, would make it very, very difficult for me to do it. Like even if I say I want to do air duct cleaning today, I'm going to need $20,000 probably to get started, maybe more, to get started. And if you're short on cash, that's not going to get you there. So can you really focus down on your sales processes, and maybe think about saving $1 and squeezing $1, or maybe taking some lower margin jobs to keep cash flow moving instead of trying to invite new headaches if you're not the very best at what you do already.
Got you covered. So your thing is this is a good time to refine the business to make it operate at a higher level, which goes along with the thoughts from the marketing side. A lot of times I think we look at how do we bring more customers to the table, but at the same time, once you have the customer to the table, how can we service that customer better? And in the end, we're selling them more products, more services. So it's kind of the same thing there. But again, it's a definite thought. So Cheryl, let's go over to you. You've operated a manufacturing business of outdoor living, and you have definite product swings depending on the times of the year. So what's your thoughts on this of diversification?
Well, the thing about it is we are getting ready to diversify. We are going to retain what we have and add more products. We are moving into different markets. We haven't done trade shows in quite a few years. We're scheduling 4 trade shows next year. We are looking at doing things that we did in the past when, years ago when you were there. We did them back then and they worked, but over the years you had enough and you just kept going on. So that's one way we are diversifying right now. We're moving to the next level of marketing, for lack of a better word. We're moving to some newer avenues, but like you said, for the last 5 months, the word diversify is what I had to do because it's not an outdoor living building time of the year. So basically, about all we could do at this point was back up, build fire pits. I have more fire pits right now than most anybody owns. So, but that's what we did in the winter. We backed up and built for the spring, but we want to get it more level. So we're going to have to diversify and find more winter products that we can work with. We have some ideas. Jerry brought good ideas back then. We just never pushed a lot of them out. So the word is you get comfortable, and it's time uncomfortable.
Well, this is entitled the Home Service Success, but today I'm going to concentrate on our core, our niche, which is the chimney and the fireplace industries. And what do we do? And as I look back over my past of my experience of owning and managing an operation like this, there were some things that we diversified into that were very successful. And on the other side of the coin, There was a couple that I went to that really went to the bottom. It really wasn't worthwhile. Like around 83 to 84, I became aware of something called lightning protection. And we started marketing and installing lightning protection on homes. But to be honest with you, we didn't see the traction we thought we would, and we actually gave up on it and shut that operation down because lightning protection wasn't the best course of action. I'm seeing companies in the chimney industry that are opening up HVAC divisions. And the jury is still out on this one because if you're going to open up HVAC, you're going to require training, you're going to require licensing, you're going to require other things. Now, the two things that we went into in our business that I think made a lot of sense, number one was air duct cleaning. Because as I researched air duct cleaning, the season for air duct cleaning was completely opposite from the season for chimneys. In other words, in those days, around February or March, the chimney business basically shut down in my earlier days, and we had to make it through the spring and the summer. And we found that air duct cleaning was a very, very lucrative thing. Now, as Josh says, it does require funding to get into this. But what we did in order to fund the equipment was we found out about something called leasing the equipment. So instead of going out and making a purchase, we bought the equipment under lease purchase plans where we were leasing it with a $1 buyout at the end and the product, and it became ours. It was just a very innovative way to fund these equipment purchases. And then the other thing that we went into, which evolved into your business today, Cheryl, was the outdoor living arena. We had been in the hearth business for a number of years, and we were looking for something to pick up that slack. So we decided to go into outdoor living. We went into patio furniture. We started selling grills, and then we evolved that into outdoor living and the outdoor kitchens and those type of things. Was it an investment? You better believe it. So Josh, let me go to you. Your mom and dad started Tri-County many years ago. I'm presuming when they started, they were primarily in the hearth industry. Would that be right?
Yep, and they sold one product.
And they sold one product. So what enticed them to go into the patio offerings, Josh?
They needed counter seasonal product to cook stoves.
Gotcha.
Is what they needed. So they looked at hot tubs and outdoor furniture. And the outdoor furniture, was something my mother always enjoyed ordering and taking care of. So it worked for many years.
What about the grill side, Josh? Let's face it, your company was very heavily involved in the big green egg. So what drove them into the grills? And like I said, y'all were really big in when we say big green egg was really big for you.
It was a huge product for us, because early on it was just, we did have a larger territory, but we would promote it with the Waldorf Egg Fest. We did it for 20 years, and we would have a huge cooking event, and it would draw in a lot of people. Then you would get residual sales, over the years from people coming back and buying accessories and things like that.
Gotcha. So we have a comment poster. I'm going to bring it up. Felicity out in California said, did you find that your existing vendors already had some of these products? And did you find that it's simplified expanding into duct cleaning because you already had good relationships with them? No, Felicity, we didn't. At that time, their duct cleaning was a completely separate from the chimney industry. So we were having to go after new suppliers, go into a new industry. And at that time, there was very little training for air duct cleaning to go into that. But primarily, what we did find in the hearth distributors were that they were starting to sell grills. Grills became very big. And that's how we got into grills is many of our distributors were handling the grills. So we had a ready line to move into that. In fact, I can remember, Cheryl, do you remember when we made that first purchase of Peterson gas grills? Do you remember that?
I do.
So anyway, Peterson was trying to get product onto the East Coast, such as they had on the West Coast. So in order to do this, they came to us with a special deal. And the special deal was 1 year terms, 1 year terms on an initial order of display product and some very innovative and cost saving display programs. But again, we had to go looking for these kind of things. We had to make it happen. But I can remember the sales guy from Best and Langston was the company, and they were trying to launch outdoor living on the East Coast as we were going into it. And yes, it did play out big for us, but that was unusual to find that our products had the same distribution lines or supply lines, the same vendors. We had to go looking elsewhere. So Noah, as you've listened to this from the rest of us, what's your thoughts, young man? You're the man with with that high education you're getting. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool. I've talked about it before on the podcast that I really believe in the ability to pivot and trying new things for your business. I think diversification is awesome. We at Flues Brothers did something along those lines, and this was planned diversification. So we, set aside money for a while to make sure that we would be able to do this. But we decided to open a sheet metal shop at Flues Brothers, and that completely diversified what we offered. We were now cutting out the middleman and becoming our own producers of chimney caps. And then on top of that, we were training employees to be able to build those chimney caps, and also local chimney companies around us were now coming to us for the chimney caps, which was really cool because we were able to do a lot more custom orders for customers without having to worry about there being any conjunction in the middle with confusion or anything, because it was coming straight from us and the customers could be guaranteed that they were going to get the same quality for their cap as from the people who were servicing their chimney, which was really cool. So
yeah, and dead on the money. But your dad did a lot of soul searching on this. He did a lot of talking, because I'm the guy he's talking to, and this goes on for quite a period of time of how to do this and how to go into it. But yeah, that's another way. How can you make your own product instead of, because believe it or not, there's some companies in this industry, they have their own flex machines in their warehouses. They're turning out their own stainless steel flex for their customers, and then ended up selling it to other people in the market area that use it. So Josh, you got any final words on the diversification subject matter we're on today?
No, just like I said, sharpen your pencils. It's much easier to save $1 than it is to make $1.
Yeah. What about you? Any additional thoughts on diversification?
Well, the main thing is don't be afraid, but do your research. Like Josh said, make sure you do it. But remember, if you don't step out of your comfort zone, your zone's never going to change. So me, I'm a kind of a risk taker, but if you don't get out of that box never grows. And diversification in a seasonal business is almost a given. It has to be done to survive.
That's it. And that's one of the things I was going to say. And this is a time that it's very uncomfortable. When the phone's not ringing, you're looking at the bank account and it's not growing, and many times it's dropping. This can really put you into a bad situation. So what you've got to do is you've got to have the right mindset. This is where you got to pull up. Cheryl, you often say you got to pull up your big girl panties, right?
Yeah.
And this is where it gets serious. This is where, again, we've been spoiled the last couple of years. COVID spoiled a lot of home service contractors because business was easy. This year it's tough. It really has been a very tough season. And this is what many of my coaching calls are concerning now. What do we do? And we're looking at how do we refine the operation? A lot of people are getting ready to take some drastic actions. So think it through. Just like Josh said, you've got to have your plan of going through how, if you diversify, how are you going to market it? A lot of times people will add a secondary source and they don't have a plan. You got to have a plan. You got to have a system if you're going to make it successful. So anyway, this is not a real long one today. We appreciate you joining us. And like I said, if you're thinking about diversification, look at how you're going to take it to market, how are you going to fund it, and what is the potential in the market. Noah, is that what the soft drink company is looking at? Is what is the potential for these low sugar, low caffeine? I mean, let me ask you a question, Noah. Have they ever heard of water?
I think they have, and I'm pretty sure they serve it too. But yeah, no, you're right on the money with exactly what they're looking for. Is this going to be profitable? What is it going to do to our current customer base? Hopefully, expanding that, and how is it going to satisfy the true people that we're trying to please here, which is the customers, right? The people that you've kept along the whole time, and also the people you're trying to bring in along the way. So
That's it. So as a final word, like I said, Josh came up some good times. This is a good time. If your software is not working right, this is the time. We got two guys here that can work with you on your Service Titan, bringing it up to speed where it can perform better for you. It's time to roll down on the training. It's time to diversify if needed, but it's time to get serious. And with that, we appreciate you joining us today for this episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. Join us next week. We got a special guest. These guys don't know about this one yet, but next week we got a guy on here, and his name is Brian Burton. He's coming out of the plumbing industry, and he has a podcast that's called Waste No Day. And everybody knows that one of the words that just gets my fire going is the word waste. So next week we're going to be interviewing Brian Burton from the podcast Waste No Day, who is a general manager of a Ben Franklin operation out in Phoenix, Arizona. So be sure to tune us in next week as we delve in and see what we can learn about wasting no day from Brian Burton. Appreciate you joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you next Friday, 12 noon Eastern time as always. Appreciate you being here, and best wishes for a great weekend and a great Memorial Day for you. Remember, while we celebrate Memorial Day, please, it's in honor of those who have given all for us. Thanks for